Hey guys, welcome to Mark Jackson's Movie Reviews. Today I'm going to talk about Ben Affleck playing an alcoholic in The Way Back, so don't go away. So, The Way Back means recovery from serious alcoholism. Ben Affleck's character, Jack Cunningham, has a major drinking problem. Why? Because he's lost the love of his life, as well as his only child. Now, it's well played because it's been lived by Affleck himself, and it's a fine example of the courage of those we go to spend our money on in movie theaters, putting their hard-earned art-imitates-life life lessons on screen for us to learn from. You know, I remember reading an article where Ben Affleck talked about his fiancée at the time and said that she was incredibly sweet and would have been thrilled, regardless, had he bought her a toy engagement ring from a dime store. I was like, oh, I want one of those too. That's been stuck in my mind for like 10 years now.
You want the truth? Tell me. She's hideous.
Yeah, her. Yeah, so hideous. You can see why Affleck's also recently said that the worst thing in his life to date, and the source of his personal demons and need for alcoholism recovery, was his divorce from that right there, contented with a dime store ring ex-wife. And when I heard about that, I thought that, I myself might also turn to drink in such a situation. So last week I reviewed director Gavin O'Connor's 2004 movie Miracle, about the 1980 American gold medal winning Olympic hockey team.
Listen to him. We can beat these guys.
I hadn't seen it. I loved it. And then I remembered one of the few movies that I've ever given a 5-star rating to was Warrior, also by Gavin O'Connor, 2011. UFC MMA movie.
Sensation! And Brendan Conlon, the physics teacher,
So clearly, director Gavin O'Connor is the man to direct a movie about Ben Affleck playing a basketball coach. Now, any basketball movie is going to immediately call up its classic forerunner Hoosiers, about a basketball coach attempting to help a team of severe high school underdogs actualize their hoop dreams and go to state. It's got the classic archetypes of this particular story: the low self-esteem kid who's got the best skills and who needs to step up and lead, and the wild child player in need of a tough coach who can set hard boundaries for him. Another couple of good ones are the chubby kid who likes to do Joey Bag of Donuts type courtside dances, who's not allowed to dance anymore until they win some actual games. And then there's the smooth-talking little player, as in playa, who's constantly got a different girl up against the locker going, yeah, baby, every time I put the ball through the hoop, I'm thinking of you. So how does Affleck's Coach Cunningham discipline this kid? By introducing all the little players' girlfriends to each other. He brings them collectively to practice and lets them be the judge of how many wind sprints their communal boyfriend needs to run. So here's the deal. Affleck's character, head coach Jack Cunningham, was a former high school basketball phenom with daddy issues that led to substance abuse. Jack managed to nevertheless land a lovely lady, but when their young son died of cancer and he discovered his wife was having an affair with a rich man, Jack Cunningham turned to Jack Daniels and Joey Fridge full of beer, and that's not funny at all. So now he's a full-blown yet surprisingly high-functioning alcoholic construction worker with a full thermos of booze to keep him company at his high-altitude job site. He starts off his day with a beer in the shower, and he ends his nights at the local pub. And on his non-pub nights, Jack compulsively drains the entire case of beer that's sitting in his fridge. Then he gets the coaching request from the Catholic parochial school he attended, which he initially rejects, but after he meets the team, Jack's passion for hoops goes flame on. Jack likes to curse up a storm and insult the referees. He coaches the boys to play with a major chip on their shoulder, which is initially pretty good warrior training for the boys. It's too bad that the team chaplain, Father Mark, played by Jeremy Radin, who tries to get Jack to deal with the boys from a higher, more righteous place by saying, don't underestimate the impact that you can have on them. It's too bad that Father Mark registers more as the irritating, preachy, namby-pamby our modern culture has come to associate with such figures. It makes the audience crack up at what becomes a running gag of Jack going on rebellious courtside F-bomb rants.
Oh, shit! I'm working on it. Work harder.
So anyway, the team starts winning, Jack coaches his heart out, and all's well until he finds out that his estranged wife, played by Janina Gavankar, is seeing someone else. And then back comes the booze with a vengeance, and of course Jack's swan dive off the wagon comes just as his team's getting ready to go to state. The Way Back puts an unflinching portrayal of addiction first, and the underdog sports story second. And similar to Warrior, director O'Connor keeps powerful human drama and the effects of sins of the father type alcoholism front and center. O'Connor is a master of exciting sports action on film, but he unfortunately glosses over Jack's journey of recovery. All we see is a quick meeting with his wife in the common room of some rehab facility where he makes amends and expresses hope that in the future he can eventually be the man that she'd hoped he'd become. You almost expect Mike Myers to pop in from some Saturday Night Live skit rehearsal happening in the next room and go, and scene. See, to my way of thinking, if you're going to go to all the trouble of depicting the ravages of alcoholism, don't gloss over the hardcore hangovers that accompany this level of drinking. Jack just keeps more or less strolling into the shower for some hair of the dog that bit him. I once, like Ed Norton's character in Fight Club, I once discovered 12-step meetings by chance, and I went around for a few months sitting in meetings that I had no business being in, because as a young New York actor, you're trained to examine human drama wherever you can find it, and the stories in there are electrifying. Trust me, if you attend a Saturday night East Village AA meeting that's packed to the rafters with street hookers, winos, punk rockers, and Hells Angels, you are going to get the full picture about how any addiction left unchecked will kill you. So, this version of The Way Back might have been good for the early 90s, but not for the country that we currently live in, where America is strewn with opioid, meth, and weed addiction from the Redwood Forest to the New York Island, not to mention alcoholism. I would have liked to have seen this 2020 version try to fulfill the original responsibility of art, which is to return humanity to the divine. The Way Back could have shown how the way back from any severe addiction, including the smartphone that you're watching this review on, is universally about prayer, meditation, cultivating a belief in a higher power, and following a series of actions that consistently raise your moral standard. That's the tried and true, time-honored Way Back. So that's my review of The Way Back. It's rated R, its runtime is 1 hour and 48 minutes. It released on March 6th, 2020, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars out of 5. Have you seen The Way Back? What'd you think about it? Let me know what you thought by commenting below. And if you like what you see, click right here for more. And if you'd like to read my reviews instead of watching them, Google Mark Jackson Epoch Times, that's EPOCH Times, or check me out on Rotten Tomatoes. Until next time.